Most people have no idea of how well their investments are actually performing. They look at them thinking about how much they made, but that's not actually the right question. The real question you should ask yourself is, how much did I make and how long did it actually take? And this is where annualized returns come in. Let's start with the basics. Return tells you how much your investment changed over time, whether it was positively or negatively. If you invested $10,000 and ended up having $16,000, that's a $6,000 gain or a 60% return. Returns, in fact, can be expressed in dollar amounts or as a percentage. In order to calculate the percentage return, all you have to do is take the gain, divide it by the amount that you invested, and multiply it by 100. Let's try it. If I invested $7,500 and ended up gaining $1,300, in order to calculate the percentage return, all I have to do is divide 1,300 by 7,500, which gives us 0.173. We then multiply it by 100, which gives us a result of 17.3, which is exactly the percentage return. Now you can try this one. Let's say you invested $124,000 and ended up gaining $36,000. What's your percentage return on it? You can pause the video and see if you can answer. The answer is 29% return. And so far it's simple, but this is where it gets interesting. Is 29% a good return? It depends. Imagine two investments. The first one gives you an 80% return across 10 years. While the second one gives you a 40% return after 5 years. Which one is better? Most people assume they are equal, or that the first one is better since 80 is more than 40. But that's not the right answer, and actually the comparison isn't even that close. An 80% return in 10 years equals an annual return of 6%, while a 40% return in 5 years equals about 7% per year. So this means that the second investment earns 1% more every single year. In fact, if you repeated that second investment twice, so 2 rounds of 5 years, that 7% annual return would compound in a 97% total return. And it's way more than first option. And that's why annualized return matters, because it levels the playing field between different time frames. Here is how you can calculate it. So let's say you go from $5,000 to $8,000 in 3 years. That's basically multiplying your money by 1.6x. By calculating it, you can just divide 8,000 by 5,000. Now raise that number to the power of 1 divided by the number of years that it took you. In this example, you take 1.6 and you raise it to 1/3 because it took you 3 years to get that return. And the result is about 1.17. Now, to calculate the percentage return, you can just look at the numbers after the comma, or you can subtract 1 and then multiply it by 100. In this case, the percentage return is about 17% per year. And that's the number that you should compare, not the raw return or the total gain, just the annualized percentage. But let's now look at a more realistic example. Let's say there are 2 friends and they both invest their money. The first one, we're gonna call him Alex, makes a $36,000 return on a $124,000 investment across 3 years. While the second one, we're gonna call him Sam, makes a $1,300 return on a $7,500 investment after 1 year. So Alex's return is 29%, while Sam's return is 17%. But what's their annualized return? Well, for Alex is about 8.9% per year, while for Sam is about 17% per year. So we can say that all else being equal, such as diversification or risk, Sam is making a way better investment. But of course, remember, you can't just compare 2 investments just by looking at raw numbers. You always have to consider the capital involved, the time frame, the risk tolerance, and even things such as personal goals. Otherwise, it's like comparing oranges to apples. But still, this is a good starting point. Once you start calculating return in the right way, you're gonna start making better decisions. Avoid misleading offers and focus on what truly grows your wealth. So, In today's video, we talked about what return on investment is. We also talked about the fact that when it's expressed as a percentage, especially if it's annualized, it tells you also how fast that investment is growing. So now you can hopefully compare investments on equal terms, no matter the time frame or the capital involved. That's it for today. Now that you're hopefully able to calculate the return, let me know in the comments what's the actual return on your investments and what was the highest in the past. If this helped, hit the like button and please consider subscribing for future videos like this one. For today, that's it. Thank you for watching and see you guys in the next video. Bye.